the big question you need to ask yourself every day is, do I own a job or do I own a business? And unfortunately, the majority of contractors out there own a job. That's right, they're a slave to their own business. But the other side of the fence is so much greener, it's so much better, and that's when you're finally fully in control of your destiny, your freedom, your time. And that's what Contractor Secrets is about. It's about taking back our time, building a business with systems, standards, values, procedures, putting yourself in the driver's seat. And that's what it's about. So I'm excited. I'm happy to have you here. Let's dive into the Contractor Secrets podcast. I am here with Chad Walker. He is CEO of ClienTell. Chad, I'm happy to have you here, man. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and of course we're going to get into ClienTell.
Hey, thanks for having me, Tanner. So my name's Chad Walker. I am a Navy veteran, combat veteran, who during my time in the Navy, I decided to participate in a journeyman electrician's course, kind of as a fallback.
Okay.
I had originally planned to do 20 years. I was injured on my last deployment, and my fallback kind of became my fall forward. So I spent the next 10 years working in the electrical trades, a little bit of residential, mostly industrial. And my younger brother, who was in the Army, spent the past 15 years working in various construction trades, everywhere from ground zero, skilled labor, through carpentry, painting, cabinet installations, and eventually working his way up to a general contractor. So he had some really tough experiences in the residential space over the years with the customers that he dealt with, particularly not getting paid, and then seeing how the customer kind of has a lot more control over the contractor and that transaction through online reviews. So he wanted to do something about it. So we built the ClienTell app to do just that.
Wow. Yeah, man. So pretty cool backstory. So, you're in the military. First, thank you for your service, man. Always good to recognize service member. The second part of that is, so you get into contracting, and then from there, speaking with your brother, you guys kind of came up with this idea that you wanted to put the ball back in the contractor's hands. And, it's a pretty interesting concept because it really, it's kind of, out of the norm, right? I mean, even as consumers, us being consumers, if we have a bad transaction with a business, the first thing we want to do is go out there and let everyone know about it. So you're telling me that with ClienTell, we're kind of turning the tables a little bit and using this platform to rate our experience with customers. For who does this benefit most? Would it be the other contractors who may be working with this customer, or is there some other alternative benefit that you could explain? Kind of really just want to dive into that aspect of things.
Yeah, I mean, this app and the platform itself is obviously it's going to be valuable for any contractors that are providing services within a home,
okay,
or to businesses. What we've really been surprised to see is I really felt like the residential side was going to be far more impacted by this, but a lot of my commercial guys that are on the platform see it just as valuable, because whereas a smaller, maybe a two-man shop might do a job where they lose $2,000, $1,500 on a job, that hurts. That stings. But my commercial guys are losing $300,000 on a job.
Okay.
And even as a larger, contracting company, that stings. The impact is roughly the same. What we found is across the board, regardless of trade or residential versus commercial, contractors lose about 10% gross revenue every year from non-payment as an average.
Is that contractor to consumer, or in some cases could it be general contractor not paying contractor? Do you ever have that come up?
Absolutely. It's one of the beautiful things about the way our ratings work is, sub busters are very real. A lot of guys out there that work exclusively as subs on jobs know all about it. These guys, you get a GC that comes in, bids out a job, subs everything out, gets paid, and walks. So it creates problems not just for the contractors, the subs on the job, but for the homeowner as well, because those subs are going to turn around and lien the homeowner. So it's a real headache. Through our app, you can actually rate not just your customers, you can rate a GC that you work for just the same, because you can rate a business. So by rating that business and that GC as a point of contact, now you can really start to identify sub busters in the system.
Interesting.
You can identify bad customers in the system. And we've just started to import all of the public lien records for the state of Florida into the database as well. So before you go to work for someone, you'll have the ability to see what any other contractor that's worked for them may have had to say about it. And you can do a quick search through the public lien records as well, just to see if they have any liens on file. So it's starting to give you a real clear picture of who you're working for the first time ever.
Interesting. Yeah, because what's really, dynamic is the fact that when you engage in a contractor consumer relationship, the contractor usually goes in that relationship 100% blind. And maybe it's kind of like, the norm, but it doesn't really make sense that, because we're both equally responsible. When we sign a contract, I'm responsible to perform my job and you're responsible to pay me for my job. So that skepticism, is more on the consumer side, where they have the ability to vet and they have the ability to search and they have the ability to check out these reviews. So you're saying that with this is going to create kind of just like a checks and balances for the consumer. So it would be more of like a quick, hey, let me just double check on this homeowner, see if anyone else has had an experience with this person, so I know what I'm getting into, type of thing.
Absolutely right. I've said it many times. As a contractor, you walk up to a home, you knock on the door. The person on the other side of that door has dozens of ways to evaluate you and your business.
Okay.
And most of those come in forms of platforms where they're providing that customer with a free service to do just that, to look you up. Contractor charged to have access to the lead generation, platforms that exist today.
Sure.
The model has been give the homeowner a free service, tech contractor on the other side to pay for it. It's been that way for years. It's funny, if you talk to guys that have been in the business, 20 plus years, they can remember the times before your, Angie's Lists and Home Advisors and things like that. And they've seen the shift. And when you talk to younger guys, they just look at it as that's just how you do business.
Yes, that's the norm.
They've never known anything else. And this model exists in so many other platforms that we already use. There's no reason that it can't apply to, contractors as well. If you use an Uber, the rider and the driver both rate each other. If you use Airbnb, same thing. Both sides can rate each other. The construction and home services industry has just been tipped one direction for so long now that it's time to balance it out.
I think that kind of, comes to play because these lead generation services that claim they have, they really care about the contractors. They care way more about the homeowners. And the reason, being is obviously that's their customer. We're just kind of subsidiary of the system that, makes the customer happy and makes them want to thank Angie's List and Home Advisors. So for, it would just not be a good look for them to have internal ratings. So, it's really cool to maybe think about, just this alternative route. Now, I want to kind of flip the script, and I don't know, maybe you've been asked this. What about a positive experience, right? So I'm a residential painting contractor, and man, I just have some clients that, like one we just painted their house about a week ago, and my guys were sending me pictures in the group chat of hot dogs and beans and rice, and just a really good experience that the homeowner just made everyone lunch, and just it was so cool. And I thinking about your app, and wanted to bring this up because there are some benefits, I think, on the positive side of things where you do give someone a really good rating, and maybe you can say, hey, you know what, this customer really cares about their plants. Make sure that if you do this job, you spend some time focusing on their plants to be really appreciative of that. Can you tell me about what the positive side of the spectrum looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. From day one, we wanted to make sure that guys understand that clientele is not a blacklist. ClienTell is a place for you to share the information, share your experiences with your customers. Can we identify the bad ones? Yes, but we also want to highlight the great ones. Because, if say, case in point, if you're a painter and you do some work in someone's home, great customer, takes care of your guys on the site, and down the road they need an electrician. Obviously they're not calling you, but don't you want to let the next people that come along know what a great customer they are? Wouldn't you want to know going in what a great experience somebody had before you? So if you've got 5 leads that you're tracking down, if you've got a 5-star review attached to one of those leads versus 2 and 3, which one do you want to spend your time bidding? You
Sure.
can make far better choices. I mean, one of
Sure.
our earliest adopters that we put in the app, did some work for an elderly lady doing some remodel work, and had a great experience. I mean, she tipped all of his guys on the job site like every day, cash. But she had oxygen lines run all over the house, so they had to be very mindful of dust in the oxygen lines, and they put all that information in there. You say, look, this lady's great to work for, really sweet, but she's on oxygen. You have to be mindful of that. And just these little things, can really start to show you who the good customers are. That's
Yeah,
our whole
yeah, and
idea,
as
is
contractors,
identify good customers and avoid bad situations.
yeah, absolutely. And I think as contractors, especially us who focus on residential, we want to identify those A, maybe at the very least B customers. And we do want to focus our attention. We do want to focus our time because we know an A and B customer is going to make our job and our life very easy. And that's what we want. We want to do the job, do a great job, move on to the next one. And you're right. I mean, to be able to identify that, man, that's pretty good knowledge. I have a lot of contractors that follow me, man. A lot of people, might be skeptical about something like this because maybe they feel like, you know, a business rating a customer could cause some sort of ripple effect because it's so out of the norm. That's kind of like, maybe I would say, if you go to a restaurant and then, maybe the customer was real picky and the customer, sent back food a couple of times, and the customer, just was just someone that everyone kind of just like held their breath when they came in the door. And this restaurant had the ability to rate this customer. What type of ripple effect would that have, from the standpoint of the customer, where now they want to voice their opinion about this professional establishment having the ability to come at the customer? Can you go into detail about that? Because if it crosses the line between not fulfilling the contractual agreement and having maybe like a personal disagreement of like maybe their attitude and things like that. Can you hit on that subject? I mean, is that something that maybe you've been asked or?
Yeah, one of the things that we wanted to keep in mind when we set up our rating systems as a whole was that we wanted to be very simple metrics that matter to a contractor. So whereas like in the scenario you described with a picky person in a restaurant where they send food back multiple times, and that in a restaurant setting can be very irritating because it's going to affect your turnover. In the contracting world, you're going to have guys out there that if you have a really picky, like if you ever painted a home and then had somebody like run a flashlight or a spotlight down a wall to see if there's any blemishes in the paint and things like this. So that kind of pickiness will scare off a lot of guys. And then if you put that somebody's picky but they paid on time, other contractors that are very detail oriented don't mind that picky individual. They want that picky individual because they're going to charge a premium price point to deal with that individual because they do a higher level of work.
Sure.
It's what we're telling you is an overall experience rating, 1 to 5 stars, super simple. And then we give you 3 qualifiers that are thumbs up or thumbs down. For payment, did they pay on time in the agreed upon manner? character? Were they pleasant to work for? Yes or no? And repeat, would you work for them again, or have you worked for them multiple times? And just in that snapshot, you can tell most of what you want to know. And then you can add additional comments below if you want to elaborate on any of those ratings. But if someone calls you and they have a 4-star rating, they paid on time, people would work for them again, and their only gripe was that they were kind of picky, is that going to scare you away as a contractor? I mean, these are things that it'll at least give you an open view of who you're working with, so you can make a more informed decision. As far as blowback from the customers, again, the model already exists in other industries. It hasn't here, and I'm sure there's going to be a point where customers are going to get upset about something that a contractor has to say about them. And we as a platform are designed that if a customer does dispute a review, then we'll pull that review and vet it, to make sure it's accurate. But if you go on there and say someone didn't pay you, and you have proof that they didn't pay you, you have a lien filed that proves they didn't pay you, and the person's upset about it, that's their problem. That's just reality. That's reality catching up with them. It's
so do you have, or is this in the works where you will have a team for, this sort of mediation? Because I guess that would go hand in hand with really balancing whether or not there's going to be slander, or things like that.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
because that
one of
would
the biggest things that we've seen is one of the biggest issues between contractors and customers where things start to break down is a communication barrier between the contractor and the customer, and a lot of it rests in what a customer's expectations are in a given job, and the contractor being able to accurately, mitigate those expectations and then deliver on, what's actually agreed upon in the contract. So you'll get things like you'll do a kitchen remodel, and a customer will call you back to 2 or 3 times because maybe a hinge on a cabinet is a little wobbly. Well, that's a warranty issue. That's a warranty issue, but the customers don't understand that. All they know is you did the work, you're responsible for every piece of it and how it goes. And
sure.
because they've been in a system now where the contractor really, the system, it really works out to the customer's right or else. You have to keep compromising and keep, giving in to make those customers happy, or they are going to go online and they are going to blast your business, and it is going to impact your inbound calls. I mean, the research has been done. One negative review cuts your inbound calls by 30%.
Oh, I believe it.
That's a serious amount of power that a customer has and can hold over your business. And
I believe it.
Again, by identifying the good ones and avoiding the bad ones, these types of interactions and these types of losses will decrease exponentially over time. And
Sure.
the same thing that happened on our side of the equation once things like Angela's came on board, the guys that don't do business the right way don't stay in business. And what will eventually happen is the customers that don't treat their contractors right are going to stop getting people coming out to their homes, period.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I could rattle off 4 or 5 horrible experiences in just a little over 3 years of doing this, where, it's a little bit frustrating not to have a voice. But I will say that there would always be, from a business owner standpoint, and there will always be this little, should I write this? Because I don't want this to come back on me where they retaliate with a review on my business. Because the risk for me, like you said, could be potentially a 30% decrease in calls. So what if that review says, hey, well, he, of course, in discrepancies like this, customers going to most likely think that they're right. And, they jump on, and hypothetically speaking, they jump on and say, this business, did this, and this, and, be mindful, they write reviews on customers. So do you think that at some point ClienTell will become something of prestige for a customer to be proud of? Or would it be something that you're really not more or less concerned what the customer thinks? This is more for the contractor having a voice and looking out for other contractors in their local area.
Well, we're always going to be contractor focused. Obviously, as contractors ourselves, we're always going to do things that we feel is going to help contractors improve their business. From the customer's perspective, what we've looked into is, one, if you give a customer a 5-star review on ClienTell and have a great experience, one of the things that we're going to implement is, on your behalf, reaching out to that customer, thanking them for such a great experience, showing them that you've left a great review for any future services that they may look out for to see, and at the same time asking them, would you like to return the favor? So if you have a great experience with them, you rate it, we'll let them fill out one generalized rating and push it out everywhere on every platform. So they only have to do one rating and we'll put it everywhere for you. So by creating this mutual, we're trying to create a level of mutual respect between the contractor and the homeowner. On the negative side, look, people that you have bad experiences with, people are more likely to put a negative review online versus a positive. It's staggering at a 10-to-1 rate. They're far more likely to say something negative.
Sure.
Now, as far as retaliating, our platform is open to contractors and contractors only. So for a customer to even see that review at this point in time is very slim.
Okay. Do you think at some point would you consider making it completely exclusive to contractors, where there would be some sort of vetting process in order to be granted access to this to prevent? Because again, just giving you my viewpoint as a professional contractor, we have over 250 5-star reviews. Our reputation is really all we got. And for me, I think that I would personally feel comfortable knowing that there's some exclusivity to be able to see these reviews, because I really don't see the benefit of the customers having access to see these reviews, unless maybe it was shared where they could just see it only if it were shared by the person who left it. Do you plan
Right, and we've addressed the ability for contractors to make their reviews. If you view them, they would be redacted, or the contractor themselves would be anonymous. The review itself would be visible to a customer eventually. Okay. Right now, it is exclusively for contractors.
Good, gotcha.
And we've looked at different ways to vet that process. Easiest way, obviously, is through licensing, but nationwide, the licensing requirements are all over the map. So by only allowing licensed contractors in, you would exclude a lot of people nationwide. Sure. So we've looked at different ways, the vetting, to make sure that it is a contractors only platform for now. Eventually, obviously, we would like to tackle a better way to connect contractors with their customers, since we're doing so much customer intelligence work right now. The rating system and the liens are just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to be bringing you more information about your customers as the months go by. Imagine going into a job, you can see if someone had a public lien record. You can see reviews from the last 2 or 3 people that work for them. I can tell you what their credit worthiness is, whether they're in the green zone, yellow zone, or red zone. I can tell you the value of the home that they're in, and the median value of the homes in their area, and what the mean income level is for the homes in that area. So real customer transparency for the first time ever, so that you can go in.
Which is good to know, because before talking to you about this, it really came across, and without any legitimate research, but just from on the face value of it, is this is something where you just go and rate people. But what you're saying is that this is more than just rating people. This is giving you a full scope of transparency pulled from public records that are 100% free to the public in one easy to access place, with the benefit of getting a good understanding of, if you're essentially, for lack of better terms, getting in bed with someone who is not someone that you would want to be with. In other words, not an A and B customer, not somebody that maybe has, you know, held their word, or maybe missed out on paying a contract, or whatever the case may be. So it's just an overall scope for the contractor. Got it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. It's one of these things where, in a world where contractors are paying for leads left and right through multiple platforms, and rather than you're paying a lead that 8 other guys have also paid for, and then get in line to go bid a job for someone that there's a high risk you're not going to get paid at the end of that job regardless. It's you don't have to keep wasting your time, wasting your money chasing after customers that are going to be a problem. So focus on the good. We'll show you who the good customers are. Avoid the bad, and grow your business. That's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. We want contractors' businesses to thrive instead of struggling to survive.
Absolutely. I agree. Hence the name Trade Thrive. I'm all about that, man.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about real quick how a contractor can be a part of ClienTell. Where do we find it? What is the cost, if any, and barriers of entry? Why don't we dive into that?
All right. So right now the app is available in the App Store and Play Store. You can get it on iOS and Android. For right now, we've opened it up, and the app is 100% free.
That's great.
So if you get in for free right now, you're going to have it for free. So we've got multiple revisions rolling out over the next couple of months, and as the services increase and improve, once it goes live in the subscription model, it'll be $9.99 a month for the rest of 2020. And then after 2020, it's going to jump up because we're adding a lot more functionality to the platform. And but the guys that get in now, everyone that gets in under the free rate is going to have the app free.
Okay.
Until the feature set moves up, and if you want access to the new features, then you'll have to upgrade your subscription at that point. But if you get in for free right now, before we switch on the actual paid subscription, then you'll have the functions that we're starting with now: the reviews database, the public lien record access, and the contractor networking side, which we haven't really gotten into. You'll have those 3 functions for free as long as you have the app.
Great. I mean, you can't beat it.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great place to vet your customers, share information, tell people about the great customers, warn people about the bad customers. We actually integrate with QuickBooks, so you can import all of your customers and rate them right there. And eventually we're going to start seeing trends where, if I've got a contractor who has tons of negative experiences with customers in there, well, guess what? The customers might not be the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a really big new construction market. Excited about that. I also really feel like you said, what was that term? The sub busters. Those guys, who really, should be held accountable. I think that's going to be a huge benefit to be able to get some transparency. I think it's a great idea, man, and I'm really happy you spent the time with me today to share it with me and my audience, which I feel like would benefit. So if you're listening to this, jump on the App Store, check out ClienTell, give us your feedback. Obviously it's still a work in progress, and I assume, Chad, you're open to feedback.
Oh, absolutely. We spent the last year putting this in contractors' hands, just the ratings portion. So, we've put 3,000 or 4,000 reviews in the database already.
Great.
And there's reviews in there. We're importing every county in the state of Florida, the lien records, and those will be updated on a daily basis, so they'll stay current. And we want people to use it. Give us the feedback on it. You can see more about it on the website, clientell.app. A little difference in the spelling. It's Clientell. So,
Great.
tell people about your clients,
That's it.
basically.
Yeah, I mean, the play
And
on words there is great.
yeah, I was walking down the electrical aisle at Lowe's when that one popped into the brain.
Hey, man, that's what it's about. Nothing like getting behind it. Hey,
Inspiration.
everyone's got a great app idea, but not everyone has a great name, and I can attest that you picked a phenomenal name for the app. So, that's awesome, man. Well, Chad, it was a pleasure talking with you today, man. I'm sure, we'll probably jump on again sometime, man. I'd love to continue to hear about your progress. So, thanks again, man.
Hey,
Hey, I just want to take a second to thank you for joining me here on the Contractor Secrets podcast. I'm just going to take this opportunity to let you know that my passion is coaching people, helping people. I've changed my Instagram name to @ContractorCoach, and I did that because that is my passion. I want to help you. So please reach out to me. If you have an issue going on in your business, send me an email. Find me on Instagram, message me, and let's do a breakthrough session. I want to work through your problems in your business to help you get to that next level. And one thing that I always say is this, the difference between those that get over the humps and the hurdles in business is just a change in perspective. And that's what I plan to offer you. So get with me, message me, allow me to help you take your business to the next level.